What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we like to talk all things boxing. So remember to like and subscribe, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So yeah, let's get into this one. Over the weekend, a couple of days ago, we had a very good fight between Leigh Wood and Anthony Cacace, and it was actually more like Cacace versus Wood. Cacace was defending his IBO title versus Leigh Wood. Both of these guys have held alphabet titles before, and both guys are the same age. Anthony Cacace, the man that's a bit fresher, less miles on the odometer or less miles on the clock going into this fight, and he was a more natural guy at the weight. So as this fight begun, Leigh Wood, he had a good time of it. Both guys were sort of feeling each other out, lots of sort of straight shots. And, Leigh Wood, I would say he definitely picked up a couple of maybe about three or so of the first, let's say 5 rounds. He picked up about, let's say, 2 to 3 rounds of that. It was quite competitive as in those first couple of rounds, it was kind of nip and tuck with Wood having some success, able to push Cacace back at times, and Cacace was sort of finding his feet and having his successes too. But for me, I found as the fight wore on, it became more of a Cacace affair where Cacace was, pun intended, sort of managing to catch Leigh Wood rather easily with combinations, nice straight punches from the outside, and he was sort of putting the pressure on Leigh Wood, working quite well to the body as well. And Wood was playing his part. He was fighting back, but you could see that at a certain point, going into sort of the mid rounds, 5, 6, etc. Cacace was beginning to sort of take over. Leigh Wood was sort of struggling to find Cacace, was struggling to sort of find him with shots. He was being made to miss and made to pay, being countered very well by Cacace. So it was becoming more of a Cacace's fight as the rounds went on, and we got to those round 6, round 7, and you could see it went from being quite even in the beginning stages, because early in the fight it was quite even. It sort of went back and forth, but Cacace began to sort of take over around those mid round 6, 7, 8, and he began to really take over in sort of round 8, and you could tell that he was getting to Leigh Wood. You could tell that there was visible damage, and then the end to the fight came in round 9, where Leigh Wood succumbed to the pressure and was made to really feel, especially those body shots. And Cacace was bringing a good variety of shots, body and head, and just really pouring it onto Leigh Wood. And Wood was sort of trying his best to keep his composure, but he was made to sort of turn away and try to sort of get away from Cacace, struggling to sort of breathe under the pressure, and Cacace just kept pouring it on, pouring it on. Wood goes into the ropes, comes back off the ropes, tries to fight back, tries to withstand the attack, but really and truly, he was, in the end, in that round 9, he was just completely defenseless, and his corner done the right thing. Ben Davison throws the towel in round 9, and that was it. That was all she wrote, and it's the right call, because you could see the fight was not going in Leigh Wood's favor. He didn't look like turning the fight around. He was basically falling apart round after round. He was just sort of falling apart as that ninth round went on, and you could just see that if you let him continue, the writing was on the wall, and he gets knocked out. If you let him continue, he gets possibly knocked unconscious. So the corner done the right thing, and threw that towel in, because at least you save Leigh Wood for another fight, for another day. There's not much left of his career. He's had a lot of hard fights. 36 years old now, so I don't think he's gonna call it a day as yet, but he has had an outstanding career. Former world champion, absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Got some good wins on the ledger. Was able to come back and beat Maurizio Lara, fighters like that. So yeah, he was a world class operator. There was a time when, as others have mentioned, G-Man Boxer mentioned that you would have thought both of these guys as just domestic level fighters, no real hope, no real future for them. So to come from where he's come from, small halls, British level to win a world title, no disgrace. And for Cacace, it's onwards and upwards. For me, I hope to see him go on to unify the belts and go on to fight the other champions out there, and we'll see what happens with him. So yeah, great performance overall. Let me know what you thought about that fight in the comment section. Until next time, it's MK Boxing, over and out.